When it comes to the iPhone 16 Pro Max, early intel points to bigger and better being the mantras driving Apple's 2024 roadmap. Multiple leaks suggest the next Pro Max will stretch screens even larger while cramming in more megapixels, faster chips, fatter batteries, and extra bells and whistles galore. Essentially, Apple could be gearing up to launch their maxiest Max iPhone to date. In this video, we'll break down these first early looks at just how gigantic Apple may go with their next overpowered photography and productivity flagship. From expanded display dimensions to periscope zoom camera systems that close in on objects like never before, the iPhone 16 Pro Max sounds set to live up to its name in extra max fashion. First up, design and screens. Most reports suggest the iPhone 16 Pro Max will pretty much keep the same industrial, flat-edge metal and glass look as the 15 Pro Max, but we could see some minor changes, like curvier corners to improve grip and in-hand feel. The more exciting upgrades, though, involve the display, starting with size. Respected analysts currently expect Apple to push the screen to a bigger 6.9 inches over the 6.7 inches on the 15 Pro Max. We're honestly still just getting used to how massive the Pro Max models already feel, but stretching it even larger would definitely help Apple keep pace with rivals like Samsung. A bigger screen usually means an even more unwieldy phone though, so hopefully they shrink the bezels enough to keep overall device size manageable. The expanded display would match resolution to the extra real estate, likely 2960 by 1546, and of course, it will still feature OLED tech with that buttery smooth 120Hz ProMotion refresh rate. We would expect similar off-axis color shifting as current models though, since Apple sources these screens from Samsung. An even brighter panel might be in store using something called multi-lens array tech to potentially boost max brightness beyond 2000 nits. For reference, the iPhone 14 Pro Max peaks around 1600 nits when viewing HDR content, so MLA could make an already stellar display even easier to see outdoors. Around front, Face ID gear would finally move completely under the display, leaving just the front camera cutout. This will allow Apple to further shrink bezels for that true all-screen look. Android brands have experimented with under-panel cameras with very mixed results, so we're excited to see Apple's take. Around back, the often ugly, always massive camera bump might get slimmed down so lenses sit closer to flush. We sure hope so for the sake of table stability if nothing else. Most case makers expect the 16 Pro Max to share the exact same dimensions as the 15 Pro Max, so no radical size shifts in store, just slightly bigger screen in the same footprint. There's been some ambiguous talk about whether Apple might actually ditch ports completely and go 100% wireless on 2024 models. But most insiders warn that there are still too many hurdles to clear for Apple to sell only portless iPhones next year. The technology just isn't reliable or convenient enough for most people yet. So USB-C will surely remain on the 16 Pro Max. Data transfer and charging speeds probably won't change either after just introducing the standard with this year's models. But who knows? Apple loves being trendsetters, so they may shock us and fully embrace portless life sooner than we expect. Either way, MagSafe will almost certainly stick around for attaching accessories and charging too, so wireless charging obsessives can rest easy. As for buttons, you may have heard rumors about possible new input methods coming to the sides of iPhone 16 Pros, including an extra programmable smart button of some kind. This would join the existing power, volume, and customizable action buttons introduced on iPhone 15 models. It's still not exactly clear what extra capabilities Apple has planned for this additional button, or how useful it would really be. Some say it could activate camera shutter or video recording. Others expect customizable shortcuts to apps and system actions similar to the action button. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's shift gears and talk cameras. Because out of all the iPhone 16 Pro Max upgrades slated for next year, the photography gear seems to bring the most promising advancements by far. Headlining these rumors is addition of a periscope zoom lens. This type of folded lens design allows for way longer optical zoom ranges, like 5 times up to 10 times magnification or more without any quality loss. That's a big step up from the 3 times optical zoom in the 15 Pro Max. Pair this periscope lens with digital zoom and sensor cropping, and total magnification could hit 30 times, even 50 times zoom. Finally bringing Apple closer to the insane 100 times space zooms that Samsung has offered for years now. Beyond zoom, Apple is reportedly cooking up sensor shift optical image stabilization for the iPhone 16 series, just like we've seen on Sony's acclaimed Xperia 1 flagships. This moves the actual camera sensor instead of just the lenses to offset handshake and blur. The sensor shift tech, combined with the existing gyroscopic stabilization in the lenses themselves, could make the 16 Pro Max a new Steadicam king. Perfectly stable 4K video without any nasty shakiness would be amazing. And the main wide-angle camera will likely jump to a bigger 48-megapixel sensor, up from 12 megapixels still found in non-Pro iPhone 15 models. Bigger pixels gather way more light data to work with, so expect big improvements to low-light photography and finer details. Portrait selfies get an upgrade too, with the addition of autofocus on that front true-depth camera. This will ensure tack-sharp focus on faces instead of fixed-focus backgrounds. And if Apple splurges on even more pricey camera hardware like some rumors suggest, the iPhone 16 Pro Max cameras could end up costing almost as much as Apple's entry-level iPads. But all that expense might very well yield the best smartphone cameras ever made. Are you ready for that photography powerhouse? Internally, the iPhone 16 Pro Max will surely pack Apple's blisteringly fast next-gen A18 Bionic chip, manufactured using TSMC's cutting-edge 3-nanometer process, promising better efficiency. As always, expect the usual CPU and GPU performance bumps to ensure super smooth operation across iOS and all apps for years to come, thanks to that industry-leading silicone. This new chip should also enable better battery optimization. Most iPhone 16 Pro Max leaks tell us to expect only modest battery size gains, perhaps up to 5,000 mAh over the 4,500 mAh cells inside current models. But that A18 chip, combined with iOS 18 software tweaks, could still reasonably push battery life up by 1 to 2 hours per charge. That's still short of some Android flagships boasting 2 or even 3 full days of use per charge, though. Memory and storage probably won't change much on paper either, still starting at a beastly 256 gigabytes minimum. Though new type of internal storage could allow maximum configurations to hit 2 full terabytes. Yeah, that's 2,000 gigabytes, folks. Overkill? Sure, but wow. Connectivity sees a nice enhancement as the iPhone 16 Pro Max looks set to introduce Wi-Fi 7. This next-gen standard can reach peak speeds over 2 gigabytes per second wirelessly. That's fast enough to rival many home internet providers. Of course, 5G will be on board too, but the X65 modem expected here is more about power efficiency gains, keeping that always-on 5G connection from destroying battery life quite as quickly. So when can we expect to get our hands on this souped-up photography and mobile beast? As long as supply chains hold up, Apple will likely stick to their usual September iPhone event and retail launch schedule. Most rumors point to a reveal event in early September 2024, announcing the iPhone 16 lineup. Pre-orders probably open about 1 week later, with retail launch soon after, around late September. Apple may face some production delays or shortages if they can't secure all the fancy new camera gear and next-gen chips they need. But we think stock will probably hold up fine for most models by the holidays 2024 at the latest. Now, pricing, on the other hand, could get scary thanks to rumors of those camera and component costs spiraling upwards. Current iPhone 15 Pro Max models start at $1,099 here in the US and climb all the way to $1,600 for the 1 terabyte storage tier. Most analysts warn that rising manufacturing expenses across all the major upgrades slated for the iPhone 16 Pro Max could bump prices up $100 or more. So, potential starting prices for next year's model might be $1199 for 128 gigabytes, $1299 for 256 gigabytes, $1499 for 512 gigabytes, and $1699 or $1799 for the max 1 terabyte or rumored 2 terabyte configuration. Obviously, those prices are just early speculation and could change depending on final component pricing. But it's reasonable to plan for a noticeable price hike across the board, given how much tech Apple is packing into the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The question is, will all those cameras, screens, and power boosts truly push the experience far enough over existing models to warrant paying those ultra-premium costs? Or is Apple perhaps focusing too much on specs that look great on paper but won't drastically improve real-world usage for most of us everyday folks? What do y'all think? Are the leaks surrounding the iPhone 16 Pro Max tempting enough to break open those wallets next year? Or will the high price tags have you clinging to your iPhone 15 Pro Max or even older models a bit longer? Let us know in the comments.